Hey friends, welcome. I wanted to speak a little bit to teacher training, the role of the teacher, and one of the biggest concerns I see when it comes to people completing their certification or even considering doing their yoga teacher training. And very often what I hear from people is that they're concerned about their physicality. They're concerned about their fitness level or whether they can put their body into these wild, contorted shapes that we see plastered all over Instagram. So how many people do you know that can actually do those things? Right? When you go to a real yoga class, is that what you're actually seeing all around you? There are many people just like you that understand the true value of yoga, that know, that really understand that it's an internal practice that has this incredible impact on your external environment, on your health, on your home, on your ability to live into your potential. And what they're looking for is something real. They're looking for a way to access that power of yoga in a real way through something that is accessible. And that is the beauty of Kundalini. We don't have all these complicated poses. The movements are simple. Now, that doesn't mean you can't make the class challenging. You can certainly make the classes challenging, but Kundalini is an all levels practice. So to reduce the intensity of the practice, all you need to do is simply reduce the amount of time you spend in a pose or reduce the number of repetitions you do of a particular movement. So it's super easy to work with for students of all levels. So there are many of you here that are in my self-mastery community, and I just want to call you out because you're already so close to completing this certification process. And look, it's entirely up to you if you want to take it to that last step. But what I do want to remove is that block, that sense of, am I good enough to teach? Well, your community, the people that there are people that need to hear your voice. They need to experience yoga as you have learned it, felt it, experienced it, and now are passing it on through your voice that they can resonate with, right? As teachers, we're all going to create very distinct communities where we come together and the messaging gets transferred in a way that is very relatable to your distinct community. And that's why there will always be, a teacher for every student, a student for every teacher. It's like you're creating your own resonance, your own very, sacred way of sharing what you've learned. There's something about the practice that really resonated for you. And we talk about this in the teacher training. There's something that really affected you, impacted you. And that has a lot to do with what you're going to share with your students. So whatever that is, you'll see it in the foundations course. We go through this in one of the modules. We really hone in on what that is because it's a big part of who you would be as a teacher going forward. Now, I know there are many of you who really don't have any interest in teaching in a studio environment. And now it's been a couple of years since I've done that as well, because I'm looking at multiple different ways of sharing what I've learned through the years. The online stuff isn't new for me. I've been doing it since 2014, but there are many, many ways that you're teaching and impacting people that may have nothing to do with a yoga studio and a formalized class. Learning different breathing techniques, learning different meditation, learning different tools and techniques in this formalized way through the Foundations of Teaching course gives you the ability to, with confidence, share what you've learned. So you've already come so far on this journey, those of you in the self-mastery series, and there's just this one final step that can open the door to you confidently sharing what you've learned. And I know that the people in your community, the people close to you, probably would really love that. And And we don't need to build it up into this big and complicated thing when it comes to teaching. Teaching simply means you're passionately sharing something that you love. It means that you continue to study. That's one of the, the best reasons to teach. In fact, it keeps you very committed to your practice, because you know you're not the same person when you're practicing regularly and when you stop. You know this. It's very interesting to watch how at the most stressful times in our life is when we fall away from the practices that serve us best. And I have a lot of ideas of why that is. We'll usually say that during those stressful times, we don't have time. But there's something that's happening during those stressful times. There is some truth that needs to be revealed to you around that stressful situation. I'm going to give you an example. Say you're having an incredible, stressful time in your relationship, and the last thing you want to do is get on your mat and feel all that emotion come up. But if you allowed yourself to get on the mat and to tap into that emotion, to work through that emotion, on the other side of that, there's a lot of clarity. And with that clarity comes a realization that, oh, when it comes to relationship, there's two people involved. And that means that I have to look at how I've been showing up in this relationship. And so avoiding our yoga practice means avoiding facing that truth. Why do we do that? You might think that you just want to avoid dealing with all the emotion, that you just want to, be tough and strong through this challenging time you're going through. But it's bigger than that, because when you get to the truth, when you allow yourself to see that truth, to see how you've been showing up, you then have the responsibility of doing something about it. And the hardest thing for us to do is to change. But that's what it's going to take. If you want something to happen differently in your life, you have to stop the repeating patterns. All of this is addressed in the teacher training. All of it is part of the self-mastery aspect of the teacher training. Maybe you're doing some other training, and whatever you're doing, that's great. Just you want to know that basically what I wanted to say is that stepping up to teach goes far beyond simply what the body can or can't do. And so it opens the door for you to have conversation with others in your community that are actively working to make their lives better, just like you are. And when we come together in community, it makes everything that much easier, because we have that level of support and encouragement with each other, whether it's verbally expressed or not, it doesn't matter. Energetically, we're there supporting each other, even when it's on this online type forum where it's, across time and space. We're collectively working on something together. We're collectively working on understanding the truth of who we are, how we're showing up in the world, how we're standing in our own way, how it is we can finally awaken to our Kundalini, to our potential. So I'll add some links here so that you're aware of what your process is. If you're already super close to finishing this journey, I do encourage you to finish it. And if you want to get started, I'll also include some options for you on how to get started. Thank you for being here.